If you're tired of getting generic output from Claude or ChatGPT, I'm going to be giving you an AI skill that's going to contain 5 different rules and make Claude useful. And you'll be able to grab the entire file in the bottom of this video completely for free. Now, what this is going to do is that it's going to turn Claude into an actual thinking partner. One thing I've noticed that a lot of people are doing is they're prompting it incorrectly. No matter how many times someone can give a person a perfect prompt, if you don't customize it or add context to your specific use case, then Claude is going to give you generic output that you're going to have to redo every single time or edit over and over again. Now, I've seen the struggles, so I created this so anytime that I open up a project or working inside of a folder, I can have a markdown file that's going to give these rules to Claude and ask specific questions before it does anything, any task or any action. Now, you can use this for content marketing, ideation, research. If you're trying to build a mini artifact within Claude Cowork and need to create automations, you can use this markdown file or set of rules to help you complete the process. So the first step is you're going to copy the markdown file. I'm going to have it in this follow along guide. You'll be able to grab it in the description below. And let me know what you think and comment below because it really does help me with the algorithm. You can either copy the plain text editor or you can just download it as an actual file. So I'm going to click on copy whole file. And depending on where you're working, you can realistically do this in any platform like ChatGPT or Claude. We're going to open up Claude just from the browser. And for the sake of this example, I'm going to open up a new project and we'll just call it YouTube testing. Now you have some information on the right hand side here. We're going to have instructions, a specific memory, and also context. So we're going to add the instructions here and I'm going to paste in that set of rules. So what this is going to do is going to provide Claude with relevant instructions and information for chats within this project only. Now you can do this for any project or you can set it as a global instruction, which really depends on how you use Claude. If you use it very heavily, then I would consider either not using it for the global instructions and just for specific projects. So it's going to have all of this information here and we're going to click on save instructions. So you can see here that we have the set instructions and now we can work within a specific project. You could also do the same thing if you have a folder. Now let me go through the rules very quickly because it's important that you understand them before you do any automation or create some type of task for Claude to do. Now, rule number 1 is it's only going to ask a question if 2 different answers would give me 2 different results. Really, really crucial to understand. If the answer would not change what you make, then do not ask. So Claude is going to make sure that it follows these rules. Now, the next rule is going to be 3 questions, sometimes 4, depending on the prompt that you gave it originally. Now, this is important because we don't want Claude to interview with 5 to 10 questions. It's going to get overloaded, going to waste credits, and it's just going to give you too much information all at once where you only need to specifically go towards very hyper-focused answers for Claude so it can work really well. Now, for example, it's going to give us 3 questions max. And instead of planning afterwards, since we've already planned it with Claude and those user asked questions, it's going to start actually creating the output instead of planning and then doing all of that information over and over again. You'll see exactly what I mean once we're doing this. So after that rule, then it's going to give us another rule here for ensuring that it's not asking open questions. So instead of like Claude asking, what's the goal of this video or what's the goal of this article? Instead, it's going to say, is this video where I build it on camera or the one where I explain it and link it below? Something like that. Or are there any preferences on format? Or is it going to be a long tutorial or 5 shorts under 1 intro? So you want to really visualize that when you're talking to Claude. The next rule here is giving an off switch. So sometimes you don't want Claude to ask you questions if you've already provided it with all the context in one prompt. So there's a few keywords that you could say, such as just go. You can change the keywords depending on your use case. But if you say just go or no questions, then it's going to skip any qualifying questions that it needs to ask you. Now, my favorite rule is having it check for any other apps or connectors that it needs in order to complete the task. So for example, if you're telling Claude, hey, I'm struggling trying to automate my email marketing system, I need to find a way to create research files and then create a newsletter every single Friday so I can build trust with my current subscribers. Now it's going to go ahead and then look through your connectors. And if it sees that you have an email marketing platform connected already, then it's going to use that for the task. And if you don't have any connectors yet, then it's going to go through and search the public directory of Claude connectors, or it's going to ask you if you already have an email marketing platform that you use, so we can connect that using the custom MCP server. One last thing is, let's say it doesn't have any connections at all. You don't have a way to connect your tool to Claude or any platform. Then it's going to be able to use the browser mode control with your permission. All right, so I went ahead and created a example prompt here where I'm trying to automate my email newsletter, and I want it to go out every Friday. But the problem is I don't know how to come up with the research while working a full-time job where I can grab information from any social media platform and then turn that into a weekly newsletter following my exact templates and model my voice from my existing emails. So let's go ahead and see what it does. All right, so you can see here that Claude did some thinking and verified some of the tools and other information regarding our connectors. And here it said that Kit's already connected. So I start by pulling your recent broadcast to lock the actual format and read your niche off. For research, we have Exa, Ahrefs, Zapier, Composio, X TikTok company feeds are all connected. Now, here are the 3 questions that it's going to ask us that it needs in order to run the task. So it says, what do you want to build around this? We're going to just say, for example, research plus this Friday's draft. Now, where should this weekly research come from? Now, it's going to say social first. So X, TikTok, hashtag companies you follow, search demand, blended, you pick the sources. So just for the sake of this example, we'll go ahead and use number 1. And then how should Friday actually fire? For this use case, we'll go ahead and say reoccurring Claude task every Friday. So you can see here that it's going through my Kit account and looking at the statistics for my broadcast and see which ones are performing well. It knows I already have a voice skill, so it's reading through my writing style and understanding how I write content. And now it's using Exa and looking through specific queries of content around my niche. All right, so for a first run, this was not bad at all. Now we got our Friday broadcast, and please again know that this was being sourced by Exa, and it went through web search and also looked for the specific things that are in my niche. So specific keywords, related information. If you don't have any of that yet, then you can ask Claude to ensure that it includes those things or ask you those questions if needed. So for the Friday broadcast, it did go through my Kit emails, and it knows how I write my subject lines plus my preview text. And it created the body content. So this is exactly how I would write information. Of course, it's a little bit shorter than what I want. I usually have, maybe roughly 1,200 to 2,000 words of email content. But I mean, honestly, overall, this is actually not bad at all. For the subject line, we have, wait, your content problem isn't writing. The specific outcome is how I find a week of ideas in 20 minutes. The personal reframe, I stopped guessing what to send you. So that's actually pretty good. And then we have the preview text. Everyone automated the writing, nobody automated the finding. So that's also good. And I think overall, I like how it created all of this information. We just need to obviously add like a image, a featured image, and go with that. And then even has a little AI prompt of the day. So for a first run, I actually really happy with this. Okay, so now I even created a Friday signal scan. So this is what we can include with our schedule task with Claude and have it perform this every single Friday. And they even gave us the exact scan prompt, which I'm happy to provide you with. So one thing here that it didn't do was it didn't include one of my MCP connections, which is known as Monid, and it also didn't use Composio, which is perfectly fine. I probably could have added that relevant information with the connectors, or I can continue improving this project. But as a first run, I think they did a really good job, so I can use this for future use cases. So what I can do is I can copy this prompt, and then you'll go back into the project overview, click on scheduled, and then we're going to name this something as, let's say, research and drafting of email newsletter. Then right here, you're going to add in that prompt that we just got from Claude, and it's going to say run my Friday signal scan. My niche is AI systems for creators and solo operators, Claude prompts, content workflows, YouTube growth, marketing automation. We got the audience, and then it's going to search the last 7 days across all 5 buckets. So anything within X, LinkedIn about Claude skills, MCPs, TikTok and shorts on Claude AI, any change logs from these companies. and it's going to return about 8 to 12 candidates for each specific use case. So it's going to have the source link, one line on what it is, and then rank them all. So from here, we can also select the model, but you can just click on default model. And if you already know that it's not going to do anything malicious, then you can do automatically approve. And the frequency is of course going to be every week. This is going to be on a Friday, and we can say at 6 in the morning, and then you can make some final edits to the broadcast before you do anything. Or again, you could even do this on a Thursday night, so you can make edits Friday morning early and then send out the email. Which the cool thing is with Kit, you can also draft a broadcast to be scheduled at a specific time. So from here, we'll click on save. And now we have an actual scheduled task that is currently active. And then what it's going to do is going to run every single Friday at 6 in the morning, just doing exactly what we did. So you can think about how you could do this with like YouTube video ideas, if you have like an MCP connection with vidIQ, or if you need to do a Google audit on AI overviews for your website, you can also have it do that as well. So there's so many specific and cool use cases you can use AI for. Now, I highly recommend that you just test this out. Use the markdown file. You can tweak it and improve it if needed, but this is a great starting point for anyone who wants Claude to become more powerful. If you have any questions, please comment below. I reply to every single comment. And if you want to learn how to continue to make Claude even better for content, you can watch this video next.